we basically are trying to feel that we control the world. And one way to do it is with superstition. At some point in July, I get an email from somebody I once knew and I actually helped once. And this email says, Dan, what happened to you? How have you changed? How have you become that person? And I write back and I say, how have I changed? And I get back a long email with a long list of URLs, each of them proving how much I have changed. So I'll not tell you about all of them. I'll tell you about one of those links. In one of those links, there was a video of me when I was injured. By the way, this strange looking half a beard, there's a whole story behind it, but very simply, most of my body, including the right side of my face, was burned. So all of this is scars. I just don't have hair. Also, my hands look strange and I have scars all over my body. Anyway, that video shows pictures of me in hospital, very brutal pictures. It says that I was in hospital for about 3 years, true. Burned in about 70% of my body, true. But then it goes to say that because of that injury, I started hating healthy people, not true. And that's why I joined the cabal, Bill Gates and the Illuminati, to try and kill as many healthy people as possible. And that's what the pandemic is about. These were the days before the vaccine was around, but it also predicted that the vaccine is another tool by the Illuminati to kill as many people as possible. Anyway, there were many videos and maybe stories, and people had all kinds of opinions about me. And I looked at those videos and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they were accusing me. I thought I was waking up every day just trying to do good, and here I was accused in this way. So my first instinct was to call these people up and say, hey, you're wrong. You know, you have this impression on me, you're just wrong. But then I thought better, and I decided to call some experts from the PR world. And they all told me the same thing. They say, don't touch it, don't talk to them, don't participate, just don't. But as much as I was proud for asking them for their opinion, I couldn't take their advice. It was just too much, some of my inherent limitation. So I went ahead. I called some of them. I invited some of them to my house. I met some of them outdoors. I joined Zoom calls and I joined discussions. I joined Telegram groups. I did all kinds of things. And at the end of the month, I basically did nothing. I did nothing. I didn't manage to convince almost anybody that I was not the evil person that they thought I was. And this was very shocking because, you know, if you think about it, if you think about the last 5 years of our lives, we can all think about people that 5 years ago we felt that we understand the world in the same way. Here is me, here's this other person, we understand the world in the same way. And now, probably you all have somebody in your close or less close circle that you say, how did I ever think that we are sharing a reality? That those people look to you and say, are we really looking at the same thing? How did we come up to such different conclusions? Anyway, it's one thing to know about this. Yes, there are people who believe the earth is flat, all kinds of things. But it's an unbelievable experience to come to somebody and somebody says, you're evil. And I say, what did I do? And he said, you did this on Wednesday. And I said, no, I didn't. Here's my calendar. I didn't. I was in a different place altogether. And they say, no, you were there. There's something very eerie about that. Anyway, at the end of that month, that I just wasted time, I realized that the issue of misbelief is very big. And it's something that I need to spend time on to understand. Now, over the years, I usually would do research, and then I would try to write about my research. And this one, I felt the problem was handed to me, and I had to try and write a book to try and describe this complex system. And One of the conclusions I got after 2 years of talking to many of those misbelievers, doing some academic research, reading a lot about what is going on, spending a lot of times in all kinds of dark corners of the internet, the first conclusion I came to is those people who are misbelievers, they should not be discounted, and we shouldn't discount their beliefs either. And I don't mean that they're correct, they're not correct, but those processes, those people and those beliefs fulfill an important need. Now, it's not the ideal way to fulfill this need, but it's a way to fulfill this need. Imagine somebody has a mosquito bite, they have a need to itch it. Is the good thing to itch? No. But do they have a real need to itch? Absolutely yes. And the same thing goes for this going down the funnel of misbelief, starting to develop alternative theories, getting more and more into that. All of that is answering a real need. So we shouldn't discount the people and we shouldn't discount their opinion, but we should try to understand what is going on. Where are they coming from? Why are they doing this? Okay, so I said there was this funnel of misbelief. There's a system that attacks almost all of our psychology. You know, in the same way that the cookie, you can think about the cookie as a weaponized food that attacks our receptors for sugar, fat, salt, in an ideal combination that gets us to want one and then to consume more. The funnel of misbelief attacks a lot of our psychology. It attacks our emotional system and stress. It attacks our cognitive system, our personality system, and our social system. And I don't think that anybody designed that for that, but it came about to have a system that basically takes people, normal, lovable, wonderful, intelligent, creative people, and pushes them down this funnel of misbelief. Okay, so what is the psychology of the funnel of misbelief? The first element is stress. And stress creates the conditions for people to want to find a story. People feel stress. And I don't mean the stress of saying, wow, I'm so busy, I don't know how I'll finish the day. I mean the stress of the type that says, I don't understand the world. I don't understand why I'm not doing better. I don't understand why I lost my job and other people didn't. I don't understand why I'm attacked. I don't understand why, something is happening in China. I'm not understanding. I'm basically like feeling hard done by. My lot in life is not very good and I don't understand why. Now that setting creates a need for a story. And by the way, it's not just about conspiracy theories. Think about fishermen. Imagine fishermen who fish in the ocean versus fishermen who fish in a lake. Which one of them do you think have a more unpredictable life? Obviously the one in the ocean. Storms, currents, all kinds of things. Which one developed more superstitions? The one in the ocean. We basically are trying to feel that we control the world. And one way to do it is with superstition. Oh, I'll clap twice and something will happen. But another way is to have a story that organizes things. So when people feel stress, hard done by, they look for a story. But not all stories are made the same. What story do we want? We want a story with the villain, and we want a complex story. Why a complex story? You usually think that people want simple stories. Why a complex story? Why the cabal and this and all kinds of things like that? Why a complex story? By the way, one of the most complex stories, of course, is the Earth is flat. Just think how many people need to be involved. NASA, every government, every space program, every pilot, they all know it. They don't share anything. It's a very complex conspiracy. So why complex? Because if people feel hard done by, they feel that society is looking down at them, having a complex story can let them feel that I know something society doesn't understand. Oh, you think that this is a virus that started in China randomly, random mutation. No. Let me tell you what's really happening. It's this and this and this. So Stress creates a need for a story, and the story is better if it's with a villain and a complex story. So that's part one. The second part is the cognitive system. And we all know lots of things about the cognitive system. We all choose to see the television or read the newspaper that will give us the information we believe in already. Confirmation bias. We can also bend reality. We can ignore facts we don't like. But there's another element there called the illusion of explanatory depth. I'll tell you how it works. So in one experiment we did, we asked people about the flush toilet. One of those things. Do you understand how a flush toilet works? Yes. On a scale from 0 to 10? Great. Wonderful. Luckily for you, we have all the pieces of a flush toilet here. Take them and try and assemble them. People try. Nobody in our experiment managed to assemble it. And then we say, what do you think now? How much do you understand flush toilet? People say, not so much. Now, what's the idea here? The idea is that usually when we argue with somebody, we fight. You don't agree with me? Here's another piece of information. Here's another data point. You don't agree? Here's another one. We fight. How successful are we in that approach? Think to yourself, in the last year, how many people have you convinced deeply that they were wrong about something? How many times in the last year were you convinced that you were wrong about something? The reality is that when somebody argues with us, we argue back. In our mind, before we say something, even before they finish the first sentence, they start saying something, we start thinking about why they're wrong. We say something, they start thinking about why it's wrong. And the reality is that at the end of this debate, we're each more sure about our original point because we did not spend the time listening, we spend the time counter-arguing. And by the way, it's our argument, we believe them and so on. Okay. So the illusion of explanatory depth, and by the way, this is a good trick to try and help people change their opinion, doesn't attack people. You come from their perspective. You say, oh, you think you understand the flush toilet? Help me understand, how do you build it? Oh, you think you understand how a zipper works? Help me understand, how does it work? Oh, you think that the elections in the US were stolen? Help me understand, how do elections get tallied in general and where was it stolen from? Basically, in many, many things, we have a lot of confidence in our opinions, but the reality is that we don't really know that much. And the approach using the illusion of explanatory depth uses that, not by arguing with people, but saying to people, I fully trust you. Just help me understand this. Give me a bit more details. Help me understand how this would work. Okay, so we said stress is the foundation. Without stress, people don't go down the funnel of misbelief. And there's all kinds of elements in the cognitive system that take us down this funnel of misbelief. The next thing is personality. There are people who are more likely to go down the funnel of misbelief and people who are less likely. By the way, because you have the personality trait of somebody who would go down more easily down the funnel of misbelief, doesn't mean that it's deterministic. Doesn't mean you will certainly go, and if you don't have those personality traits, it doesn't mean you will not go. It just lubricates the path, right? But with enough stress, everybody would go. Just with moderate stress, some people are more likely and less likely. So what are those personality traits?
To continue watching this video, click the link in the top left or in the description below. Or visit iai.tv for more debates and talks from the world's leading thinkers on today's biggest ideas.